As a conscious Kaisonian, I was ready to give all I can for Kaiso showbiz. Hold on, but now I have some doubt. My hand in the lion mouth, the returns not adding up to the expenses. When I sing nice songs in the semi-final, people swear that I make the demonstration. Fuck like they want my soul, my pocket full of holes. I finish pouring all my silver and gold. Kaiso will make me a vagrant. Kaiso will make me a vagrant. Money tight, dread and slow is my vagrant partner. Clothes I borrow. Kaiso will make me a vagrant. Kaiso will make me a vagrant. I hustling by traffic light like I want to end Morris Street in the night. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. God in heaven knows I could end up a vagrant.
This one is dedicated to all the struggling Kaisonians and their families. Stay strong. As a conscious Kaisonian, I was ready to give all I can for Kaiso showbiz, but now I have some doubt. My hand in the lion mouth, the returns not adding up to the expenses. When I sing nice songs in the semi-finals, people swear that I made the demonstration. But like they want my soul, my pocket full of holes, I finish pouring all my silver and gold. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Money tight, dread and slow is my vagrant partner. Clothes I borrow. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. I hustling by traffic light. I could end up on Morris Street one good night. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. God in heaven knows I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. To tell you how this thing's serious, this time I believe me chorus. Hear them, hear them. I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. Pressure. Oh, they take it easy. Listen. Year after year, I just try my best to present Kaiso with depth and beautiful melody. Hey, my partner mother can't make finals and I shan't. Sometimes I feel somebody messing with me. Social commentaries, well researched, positive, thought-provoking, original and constructive. A Kaiso jump from Tobago in the masquerade gesso. Mr. Mother can't flatten that like a pampano. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. I selling chatine in the market, cause every year taking basket. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Good Lord God. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. I sneak in the bush by Trevor Sayers. I bounce about 2-3 entertainers. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. Kaiso could make me a vagrant. God in heaven knows I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. In case all you think are kicks in, listen what my friends them saying. Hear them. I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. A little help, please. Do you remember Shadow's classic, poverty is hell, and 1% training ain't come back since? Iowa and Rudder said, so long, no profit in Kaiso town. Going to war done with Kaiso, he convinced this Kaiso business could be really pure hell. Plenty singers disappear and lose their shell, while I bear pain and show some class. I catch him in mother mass, but one day my name will be first at last. I so good make me a vagrant. This guy so good make me a vagrant. My credit union record is a crime. My grandmother dead about 15 times. Good Lord God. I check the blue machine, boy, first thing bad. The machine tell me, boy, just keep back the card. This guy so good make me a vagrant. God in heaven knows I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. Think to make man cry, all you laughing. But hear how my friends them pleading. Hear them, now hear them. I could end up a vagrant for Kaiso. Hoping and praying for when that day comes, when every Kaisonian can live off this art form. But we must have leaders with vision who can come up with a plan that would one day even do away with competition. But you must decide if you're leading or competing. Always remember, perception shapes reality. And make sure we judges know the 5 rules of Kaiso to avoid another mother can't fiasco. Cause this ain't gonna make me no vagrant. This ain't gonna make me no vagrant. Our chain is as strong as its weakest link. Fix this thing quick before we all sink. This ain't gonna make me no vagrant. This ain't gonna make me no vagrant. Somebody better do something fast before Kaiso end up in the lavas. This ain't gonna make me no vagrant. Kaiso gonna make me no vagrant. I may have to let go before I turn vagrant for Kaiso.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on I95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the On Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Drinking alcohol raises your risk of getting stoned.
Nice.
Drinking alcohol raises your risk of several kinds of cancer: mouth, throat, voice box or larynx, throat, which is the pharynx, esophagus, colon and rectum, liver, and breast in women. Some studies show that drinking 3 or more drinks that contain alcohol per day increases the risk of stomach and pancreatic cancers. Drinking alcohol may also increase prostate cancer risk. All kinds of drinks that contain alcohol increase the risk of cancer. Drinking less alcohol is better for your health than drinking more. Now, this is advice for people who drink alcohol or are thinking of drinking alcohol. Recommends that of legal drinking age, which should be 21 years or older, choose not to drink alcohol or to drink alcohol in moderation. Drink fewer in a day for men, 2 drinks or fewer in a day for men, 1 drink or fewer in a day for women.
Of course, if you're taking prescription medicine, including cancer treatment, ask your doctor if it's safe to drink alcohol. Now, why does drinking alcohol raise cancer risk? Studies show that alcohol may increase cancer risks in several ways. Alcohol can disrupt cell cycles, increase chronic inflammation, and damage your DNA. DNA is a cell's instruction manual that controls how a cell grows and does its job. When DNA is damaged, a cell can grow out of control and become cancer. Alcohol can increase levels of hormones, including estrogen. Estrogen plays a role in breast cancer development. Alcohol makes it easier for the cells in our mouth to absorb cancer-causing chemicals called carcinogens. For example, when you use both alcohol and tobacco, the alcohol increases the absorption of carcinogens from the tobacco. Each year, about 20,000 adults in the United States, that is, die from alcohol-associated cancers. It's estimated most of these deaths may have been avoided if all adults had followed the recommended limits on alcohol use in the dietary guidelines. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Dependency, right here on I-95.5 FM, live on the Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning, Garth. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to you if you're tuned in on I-95.5 FM, as well if you're tuned in on our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Good morning to you, and don't forget to like the live.
And once again, this time of year, we tend to do this type of programming because of, well, from Christmas to Carnival, it pours. You know that. And
when it pours, you read.
And we know what happens when it pours, right?
Yes.
So, but apart from speaking about it, we always like to highlight or have you listen to someone who experienced it, who had first-hand experience. And thank God he survived. I'm sure his family is grateful for him being here. He has a beautiful family. And Harry will sit with us this morning and tell us about his journey. Hoping that some of you who just waking from last evening or just coming home from that all-inclusive or that breakfast party, and you're promising God that you will never drink again because you woke up with this, humongous headache and you're throwing up. Some of you still now coming out of the bathroom because your eyes popping out your head. You just vomit. You just throw up everything. And
I can't remember what you did last night.
Can't remember what happened last night. Again, you're on your knees and asking God, please, if you spare your life this time, you will never touch another drink again. And so it continues. So this morning, we will have that testimony from Harry, how he survived, hoping that some of you who are listening this morning will understand how important it is to be moderate. Nobody is trying to shut down the alcohol industry. That is not going to happen.
Correct.
We know that. And like everything else, there are some people who feel that they just cannot have a good time without drinking. They feel that once they're among friends who drink, they must drink as well. There are friends who influence you. Some of the terms used are, if you're not drinking it, you're going to wear it. And how many of you would have heard that statement before? And you can't come here, you go, you're stush. And all the language to make you feel guilty, put you on a guilt trip, that you must drink. Now, we have children indulging in alcohol. Those of you who are guilty of giving your child alcohol for the worms, etc., etc. So this morning we're going to be discussing that, hoping that you decide that you're going to. I know it's hard, it's difficult, I know, especially being on the road for 2 days. Some of you started since last week and going non-stop. You always hear about the boast that I go to fete and go straight to work the next day. And all of that. We've done that.
Yes.
See Harry nodding in approval. Morning, Harry.
Agreement?
Pleasant good morning to you, God. Pleasant good morning to you, Natasha.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for having me here this morning.
You're most welcome. We are anxious to hear your story because, as Garth mentioned, alcohol abuse, alcohol use disorder, alcoholism is not an often spoken about issue in Trinidad and Tobago because alcohol is not considered a drug. But before we start off with Harry, I just wanted to share, God, some of the symptoms of alcohol use disorder, and you
Sure.
can, for those listening, can see whether mild, moderate, or severe any of these symptoms are occurring in yourself or someone you love. Being unable to limit the amount of alcohol you drink. So you say you're just gonna have one beer, you end up having 5. Wanting to cut down on how much you drink or making unsuccessful attempts to do so. So you say you want to cut down, yes, as God say, you swear you're not going to touch it again, but you end up overindulging. Spending a lot of time drinking, getting alcohol, or recovering from alcohol use. So a lot of your time is consumed with getting the drug, drinking the drug, or recovering from drinking the drug. Feeling a strong craving or urge to drink alcohol. So you may be just going about your regular day and you have a very strong urge or craving to drink. Failing to fulfill major obligations at work, school, or at home due to repeated alcohol use. And this is very common as well. Always have an excuse about something that you're responsible for doing and you didn't do. Continuing to drink alcohol even though you know it's causing physical, social, work, or relationship problems. Giving up or reducing social or work activities and hobbies to use alcohol. Developing a tolerance to alcohol so you feel you need more to feel the effect, or you have a reduced effect from the same amount of alcohol. And experiencing withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, sweating, shaking when you don't drink, or drinking to avoid these symptoms.
Correct. And I'm sure Harry would have concurred with all of what you just heard. And keep in mind, though, folks, that some of these, this condition can be inherited as well. Because if your father or great-grandfather or mother, great-grandmother were alcoholics, that would pass on from generation to generation.
Yep.
We've heard that many, many, many times. And again, just as Natasha just indicated, it's just like when I used cocaine, that first one was marvelous. And alcohol can come at a time when you're under stress. And somebody tell you, go take a drink now, man, and cool your head. And for some reason, that drink hits the spot because now, wow, I have no problems anymore and I'm feeling good. And you continue to drink. And when you wake up the next day, the problems return and you start to drink again so that you feel like how you felt that first time.
Yep.
And just as with cocaine,
Or any other
addictive
activity.
Addicted substance or activity, you need to get that first feeling back. And I know there are people who reach to drinking a bottle of puncheon a day. I'm not talking about a flask or a petticoat, a bottle. That's to tell you how, after a while, it starts almost tasting like water. And they just have to, but you have to drink at least a bottle and a half or 2 now to get that same buzz when you got with one drink. It is a problem, people, and despite of the advertisements you see on your television, that's just the happy part that you see, but they never show you the fallout from it. Never do. That guy who would go home and take it out on his family, his or her, that woman who would go home and take it out on his or her family because they're drunk. And how many times you've heard this saying, that nice fella, you know, but you see when he drink? Folks, Harry, good morning, and thank you very much. Have you identified with anything you heard here so far?
Thank you again. God, you know, it's such a wonderful thing that, you know, when you hear certain things and it just resonated right away, you know, because a lot of those things that was said here this morning, like I just seen my past. I just saw some of my past. And that is what makes it very interesting. You know, it's very, very, very interesting.
Now, where did it start for you, Harry?
Well, my alcoholism started at a young age. I am the third of 7 siblings. Being the third of 7 siblings, my father, my uncle, and I heard you mention earlier on it could be hereditary.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why I said it have a lot of things that you said here this morning. It's really reality. It's really the truth. And because of my father I cannot call him an alcoholic because all I know is that he drank. His brother, which is my uncle, he also drank also. And there was this tendency, anytime that his friends come home, as I said, I was the third, so I had a bigger brother to me. So he was the one designated more or less to prepare what I would call long time the turf. You know, prepare the turf. And when I say prepare the turf, well, to make sure the ice, the glasses, everything is in place. But what attracted me was the reward. And that reward was, Daddy used to always say, come and take a little one for the worms there, son. And I wanted that reward also. So you'll find that any time we are aware that my father's friends will be coming at home, I take over the job. I take over the job because I wanted the reward. And by just getting that taste of alcohol, it was like freshness in a breeze in a bottle. You know?
And how old were you at that time?
You know, well, around 12, 13,
Okay.
You know? And it could have been a little younger, but, you know, I want to average it around 12, 13.
Okay.
Because it was around the time I would be looking to sit common entrance and things like that, so,
Right.
You know? Unfortunately, I wasn't successful in that area, you know? But I cannot say it's because of the alcohol, because at least, you know. But the fact remains is that from that interjection into alcohol, here it is that I had the opportunity. I got the opportunity, not had. Well, you could say I had, but I got the opportunity at the time to get my first job. And when I say my first job, well, my first job was, you know, around the Christmas time, you go out and you're looking for places so you could have your own money for the Christmas then. So the guys used to go around, you know, looking for jobs. If you go by Najib, or, you know, you go. And I end up getting a job by Superville. Sorry for calling the establishment, but, you know. But I got a job there in the early days. And that's just for around the Christmas time, just for me to get things, you know, Because as I said, I was the third of 7 children. Not to say that I was wanting for anything, but the main thing in everyone, I want to have my own money.
Yes.
I want to spend my own money. And those days, it had an establishment on the back road. As I said, I'm trying to avoid calling the establishment name.
Sure.
But that establishment used to sell the cask wine in the gallon.
I remember that.
In the gallon, on the back road. And that was a trend at that time. So it wasn't about really taking the hard stuff, really, but graduating. As you mentioned, Garth, earlier on, you graduate as you go along. Because it was said to me that my disease, it gets worse. It never gets better if I continue to drink. So I started really with cask wine.
And I remember right, cask wine came in a big gallon bottle.
A big gallon bottle.
Right, yes.
A big gallon bottle. And I remember, you talk, just rehashing what you mentioned earlier on. Mm-hmm. You talk about who might be now getting up, who might be in know which part of the bed there is, who don't know here, who don't know there, as the case might be. Mm-hmm. But what happened to Stephen? Sorry. What happened to Harry? Mm-hmm. What happened to Harry was, the thing about Harry today is that when that happened at that time, the fact remains was I got up a morning, and when I got up that morning, my whole bed was in red. And my mother really thought that I got injured. Only to realize it was the vomit from the cask wine, really.
Oh.
It was really the redness from the cask wine. So my whole bed was in red. So these are the stages that really started with me.
And that too can cause serious harm. You were lucky because some people suffer alcohol poisoning that way.
But besides alcohol poisoning, I could have choked.
Yeah,
I could have choked.
Right. Yeah.
I could have choked, on my vomit. I could have choked on my vomit. I have a good friend who died from that. I have a good friend who died from that. So I'm quite aware of those things. But as the promo said, what is Harry's story today? From all those interjections what I spoke about a while ago, I was fortunate enough to my father came home one afternoon and declared to my mother that there were room in the office where he works for apprentices. And that was earmarked more or less for my bigger brother. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't inclined to really work alongside my dad at the point in time. And because of that, Harry decided, hey, what an opportunity in life. And I grasped at that opportunity. And the reason why I grasped at that opportunity because I honestly wanted to help my mother. And I say I wanted to help my mother, as I said, not because of any poverty or anything of the sort, But that same big brother, I remember they having to pay for him to go to secondary school and things of the sort. And as I said, I'm the third of 7, so it had other siblings behind me. So I thought it was wise that I go into the workplace after, when I got that opportunity to go in the workplace and see how best I could help the family. In so doing, when it was decided that I will, go into the workplace, well, of course, as I said, it was an apprentice stage. So I went in as early as about around 16 to 17 years, because you do an internship for about 5 years. And during that internship, you had to do certain things. Certain things were required for you to do. And one was going to John Donaldson Technical Institute at the time. Well, today it's the University of Trinidad and Tobago. So that was one of the places I needed to go in order for me to get my certificate. The reason why I'm saying all of this is because that's how Harry's journey started. Here it is, Harry got this opportunity to work in a government department. And who in a government department that Harry know have an alcohol problem? I wouldn't think. There's people who drink. There's people who drink, but they are not alcoholics for where I am concerned, because I look at the alcoholic as the man who probably will be mopping a drink by the bar. I look at the alcoholic as the one who go be sleeping outside at the bar, by the bar. But I wouldn't look for the alcoholic to be one who having that problem with alcohol.
Working in an office
and working in an office. Mm-hmm. But you hear what I said, eh? Working in an office. But sometimes you ask yourself if these people really do work. But we'll get to that as we go along. So there it is, I don't want to emphasize, well, it's my story, so I could say I. So growing up in that environment, there were drinkers. And what better place to be? What better place to be?
Among friends.
Among friends. Friends of your ilk, you will say.
Yes.
And as I always say, you could safely say Harry had arrived.
So did they use every opportunity to, hey, let me take a drink for this one boy, or there were designated times that you all would meet at a certain watering hole and have a few? Or?
Well, you see, at that establishment, what used to happen is that we used to meet at certain places. And the earlier you reach, you'll be fortunate only to buy one wrongs. A morning might say, well, we're drinking Guinness this morning. So you buy. Yeah, we're talking about before 7 o'clock in the morning. Because work starts at 7:30. Right? So before 7 o'clock in the morning, that is the encouragement for you to reach early.
Mm-hmm.
So you're reaching early in order that you could go and join the gang. So you reach early, you go, you might meet 4 or 5 people. Well, you buy your rounds. So the later you reach, you have to spend more. Because more people you have to buy for. So you either make the choices, either you come or you stay. But if you stay, you get fined.
Fine.
Yeah, you get fined. Wow. You get fined. So you'll find that around 9 o'clock or before 9, a little contribution will be passed, A little offering this pass. And from that offering, you will get a message. You are wanted by the door. But There's nobody really by the door to you. You know exactly which door to attend. Because there will be someone designated then to go. And those days, it had a grocery at the corner of it was Edward. And as I said, I really don't want to call establishments names.
But some of them would have been close by now, right? I mean,
yeah, a lot of them close by now.
They could call the name because
right now we're in an area here right now where it had a known one, which was
on this
which
spot
was
here?
yeah, not this spot but by the corner.
Okay.
By the corner, some Chinese used to run down there, called Safeway.
And you just reminded me that, so just as they had blocks where you could go and get marijuana or cocaine, they had several.
They have places where you could get your alcohol.
Right.
And you see, for Harry, it was better for Harry to drink alcohol and be comfortable with himself because I really didn't want it to shame a family to get locked up for marijuana or get locked up for cocaine or some kind of thing like that.
Right.
And as I said, I had arrived because I got my government job. So that whole idea about having that government job, I thought people were just jealous, Harry. My whole idea about it, people always have something to say about me. But none of them never buy no drink for me. I used to buy my drink. So...
And of course, you as a young man too, in the company of older men who are sanctioning this and encouraging this behavior as well.
I wouldn't say that they were encouraging anything, Okay. That's the life. That was part of the lifestyle. You see, you want to be a big man, but you have to have a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the next.
Right. Yes. So let me ask you, so no adult in that group ever told you, young boy, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. Who encouraged this young man to come and join us to drink? Nobody said that to you?
Well, strange enough you say that. Because, at that point in time, as I said, my father, and my father, they used to call him Big Ocean. Because they all used to consume alcohol. You could never tell yourself that he was drunk because of his consumption capacity, his consumption capacity. So what do you think? What do you think Harry's name was? Young Ocean.
Young Ocean. Okay.
So if I'm Young Ocean, I have to live up to my father's reputation.
There you go.
I have to live up to his reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of encouraging or anything like that. It's the fact. One of the things were that you have to be able to work good. You have to know the job. But drinking, you have to be part. We had an association in that organization.
Called what?
The RDA. The Rum Drinkers Association.
Yeah.
And the reason why that was the reason why I could tell you that today is because when my father died and my mother saw this wreath came from the RDA, she wants to know, well, who is these people?
Jesus Lord. Wow. They sent a wreath?
No, well,
of
course, because the son is a member of the club.
Wow.
She ain't sent it back?
No, she was sent it back. She recognized who it was from. Because when I mentioned, well, that's the organization, the Rum Drinkers Association. She said, wow, Oh, that's all she could have said, wow,
You all weren't registered, though.
No.
No, but Harry, just to divert a little bit, how did your mother handle your father's drinking? Did it affect their relationship at all?
Did you see anything?
I must say my mother was a devoted woman to my father.
right? But they do that.
She was really, yeah. Well,
Usually, yeah.
of course, it will have some effects somewhere along the lines, and that is why I could safely say, I thought when I decided to go into the workforce, I would have helped the situation.
Right. Yeah.
But instead of helping the situation, it ended up that she had to deal with two individuals now.
Yes.
Because I remember one morning, I went to pick her up by the market. Well, she normally goes to the market, and when she goes to the market, I will come afterwards because I had a vehicle at the time, so I used to come to pick up, with the load. Let me put it this way, with the load, with the market stuff and thing. And I remember she met one of her friends, and one of her friends tell her, "Girl, I see your son last night." And her words was like, "Well, the chip don't fall too far from the tree." Not to say that she was safeguarding her son, to say. But what else again could I tell you? What else again could I tell you? But if it's the same person you're talking about, is that person there? And she was amazed to see that I was there, but in what condition I was there to pick up my mother. I knew I had to do that. But for me to get up that morning, it was one of the hardest things for me to do. But I had to do it because that was part of my duties. So there were many things that transpired while I was drinking. So as I said, I went.
What about your siblings? How did they engage with you and interact with you and your parents, knowing about your father's issues and yours? How did they react to respond, if at all, to what was happening?
Well, I want to safely say, they didn't realize it was that bad. They know I drink. They didn't realize it was that bad. There came a time I was drinking to live and living to drink. Became a time I became sick and tired of being sick and tired of my own self.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Harry here this morning, who is taking us on a journey with his alcohol addiction. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to ask Harry to elaborate on that feeling of being tired of getting tired of being sick and tired. And of course, Harry brought some literature with him this morning too from AA, and this I know will help some of you when he shares it with us, because it's important. Again, no one is trying to dissuade you from having your drink, but then you must know your family's history. You must know your capacity. You must know when to stop. You must know. And there's no two ways around it. There are people who are alcoholics, whether you like to hear it or not. If you have to start your day with a drink, you're an alcoholic. If you have to leave work and go get a drink and come back to cope, you're an alcoholic.
Or if you have to hide your drink at work, you might have a bottle of water like that on your desk, but it's not water in the bottle.
Yes,
You have a problem.
You disguise your drinking with vodka.
Yes.
Some people say, anyway, I don't want to give away that, but who knows. And so, yes, let's share that this morning. Those of you who just woke up and survived last evening and promised God that you won't drink again if He spare your life, well, you're hearing this broadcast, He spared your life. What are you going to do? By this afternoon, you're going to go back. But there's such a thing called alcohol poisoning. We'll share more information on that with you. Some people suffer blackouts, and understand how it would affect your child's brain development if they start consuming alcohol before the age of 25. We have a lot of children right now who are experiencing that problem because they started drinking from early. And for some, punching is their drink of choice. 75 overproof. Let's go to that break. We'll be back.
Yes, girl. Line here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
The sex trafficking thing is a serious thing, you know, boy.
Sex trafficking? I thought it was only human trafficking it have.
But what do you mean?
No serious thing, boy. Where you get that from? I know about human trafficking, not about sex trafficking.
So how can you spot and identify perpetrators and children who are victims of trafficking? Many victims who are children do not look like under 18 years old. Child victims often move escorted around alone or in small groups. They also live in shared and even packed rooms and have very little clothing and belongings. Child victims are often seen with adults who are not their parents, their relatives, or their caregivers. Migrant children are often unaccompanied and separated from their parents. Child victims are often engaged in work that is not suitable for children. They are often deprived of their freedom to go to school, to play, and to enjoy being a child. Perpetrators have unexplained sources of income and possessions. They are businessmen and businesswomen running legitimate and illegitimate businesses. Perpetrators may appear to be the victim's friend, boyfriend, close relative, or employer.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Join us this Sunday, February 23rd for episode 8 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Alcohol can be a dangerous drug when abused. When it pours excessively, many life-changing conditions can rain down on you, including death. Meet Harry, a father of 5 who was addicted for over 30 years. His denial was so severe that he once presented a sick leave certificate to his employer, signed by a veterinarian.
My name is Harry, and this is my story. Hope it can save someone.
If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol addiction, then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit, Ministry of National Security brings you Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Come again, come again. Rum.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. We are talking alcoholism with Harry in studio. And again, to those of you tuned in on our live streams on Facebook and YouTube, please drop a like on the live. It really does help the show.
Yes, Harry. So let us continue this journey. So you got embedded in this lifestyle, and you were one of them who, before you go to work, you had to take a drink. Tell us now how it did develop into a problem for you and your family.
Well, you realize that earlier when I said I started to get sick and tired of being sick and tired of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So there were days when I would leave with my children to come to go to work. Now I'm leaving home with my children to go to work. And you know, there's this thing about, I have some friends who normally would say, but let us put it this way. In Trinidad, there's no one to tell you, let's go and have breakfast. There's always where we could take a drink. And it so happened that morning, I bounced up one or two friends and they were like, take one before you go down to your dinner, boy. And I was like, no problem. But with that no problem, I told my children, all you go ahead, Daddy will meet you all. Not knowing that they wouldn't have been seeing Daddy then on their journey to school that morning. Because in truth and in fact, I honestly just went to take one beer. And by the time I took that beer, I probably would have met my children by the time they crossed the first, let me say, before they crossed Frederick Street then. Because they had to cross Frederick Street, they had to cross Pembroke Street, they had to cross Abercrombie Street, they had to cross St. Vincent Street. And those are busy streets that morning. And for children, if Daddy say he coming now, they will be looking for Daddy. But like every time they look back or whatever, because I wasn't around, Daddy nowhere in sight. Daddy was nowhere in sight. Because why? Here it is. My goodly friends will say, well, you can't hop down the road, you know, you can't take one. Balance off your foot. And with that balance off your foot, I will take a next one. And then, of course, that's something inside of me that's telling me, why take one or two? So I will tell myself, well, I will go to work for 9 o'clock that morning with the expectation that I will go and tell my bosses, I take salary time or I take bank time or something, you know, make an excuse. Because we could make plenty of excuses, you know. We could do a lot of, you know, we are very tricky.
Yes.
But the thing is, when 9 o'clock came, like, the things started to get more sweet.
And your children going to school already?
And them going to school as normal. But the thing is, as I said, 9 o'clock will reach. I say, what is sense going 9 o'clock when I could go half day?
Lord, this song is so familiar.
And then half day will reach.
It will turn into tomorrow.
And like, I still cannot move. You know, you want to move. And this is why when I say I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of Harry, I couldn't move. What was keeping me down, I don't know. You ever hide from your own children? Gat and Natasha, you ever hide from your own children? You know, I didn't realize I was doing that. Because I know around 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, they will be heading back up the road.
Yes.
You know, that's the time I will accidentally want to throw down something on the floor and play looking for something on the ground. Whether if they pass, they didn't pass. If they see me, if they didn't see me. But that's the last place Daddy went. That was the last place Daddy was. And they had to pass there. But I want to say this for what is word, God, before I think. You know what was very hurtful? While I was doing all these things, my children had to go in the office where I work in order for them to get passage to come home.
Wow.
And there were some co-workers used to tell my children, who your drunken father, he didn't come to work today. Now you telling children the drunken father didn't come to work today, you know, that messing up their head.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the truth, but it didn't have to be delivered in that
No, but that's the way how
that's
the way how they dealt with it.
Yeah. Instead of the intro.
But I had a good friend. I had to say I had a good friend who when he see them, he asks them what happened, this and that thing.
And make sure.
So when my responsibilities then was handed over to a good friend of mine, more or less, because he's the one secure them and make sure they could have reached back home. Yeah. You know. That is my story. And when I say that is my story, that is something that happened. And when I feel, the next day, it wouldn't be the same as what happened the day before.
Start all over again.
The whole cycle started over again. And this is why I was told that one drink is too many and 20 is not enough. That is why I was told, if I don't take that first drink, there will be no second, no third, no fourth, or no fifth.
Just as in Narcotics Anonymous, we say 1 is too many and 1,000 never enough. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. It's never enough. But then remember, we're dealing with spirit here.
No, you must realize that it's two separate programs far apart, but it more or less deal with the same principles.
Yes.
Yeah. There are 12-step principles. Mm-hmm. But to even add more injury, insults to injury, as I will say. The part that I couldn't understand is that the next day, I could have done the same thing and expected a different result. Because I'm telling myself, what happened to me yesterday wouldn't happen to me today. Mm-hmm. And the identical thing that happened to me the day before happened to me the next day. Because I had lost all control of... You see, what I didn't understand, what I didn't know, what an alcoholic was, is when I came into the rooms, I understand that an alcoholic is one who has lost his or her ability to control their drinking. But I honestly thought I was in full control. How something in a bottle could be controlling me? And I have a story about that, but, I don't want my wife to be intimidated, right, But the fact remains is there were one time she told me, look what giving she trouble. Something in a bottle. Not an ex-woman. A liquid in a bottle. I had a pride and joy. My mother sent a jersey for me. My mother... she lived in America, and she sent a jersey for me. And that jersey marked 25 reasons why a beer is better than a woman.
Oh boy.
And it was a joy for me to wear that jersey. Now, in truth and in fact, it have to be someone who's not thinking properly then could say that a beer could be better than a woman. And I had 25 reasons why,
25 whole reasons.
You understand?
Wow.
But the nice thing about this whole situation was I did that same thing, and we talk about sick and tired of being sick and tired, as I did that same thing for 3 days straight. That means leaving home with the intentions of going to work. And can't move from that certain establishment. Because I'm passing with that intention that God will call me. Sorry for mentioning your name.
But that's all right, because I just got to ask you, so if I came to work to look for you, somebody could say, it have A shop right
Yeah,
on
it
the
have an
corner.
office. It have an office.
Right.
Dicey office.
So you were one of them where people could have sent, if
Yeah.
you're not on work, they know where
Yeah.
to find you.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Most of the time when I'm not on the job, I say on the job, I will be in my office.
But how does it affect, of course it does affect your job. How were you able to balance both of them?
No, well, see, this is the whole thing. As I said, it reached a time when 3 days straight, I did the same thing. Same thing I did. But somehow or the other, my drinking friends realized that I wasn't drinking comfortably that morning. And one wise one, always among the drinking fraternity, there's always one who is the best lawyer, who is the best doctor, who is the best of. You always get the best of everything. And one of them will jump up and bawl. But I find this morning you're not drinking comfortably. And my words to the individual was, today is 3 days I already go to work. So that means I will have to go and get a doctor's certificate, or else I will be regarded as away without leave. And strange enough, the words that came to me was, so wait now, is your work you're studying? Well, if you work humbugging your drinking, what about if you leave your work? And I don't know exactly what transpired when that individual made that statement. But something dawned on me then. Hey, if I leave my work, how my wife and my children go live? And then the next thought came, where to get that doctor's certificate. And as I said just now there were always someone to advise you. And someone advised me to a doctor's office, not too far from where we were. So I went to the doctor's office, I got my sick leave paper. I was happy and jolly because I have something in my hand and that could secure my work.
But this was no ordinary doctor.
Well, I'll get to that, Gart. I'm going to say I'll get to that. There came a time when I had an incident at work. And it came that in that incident at work, my immediate boss at the time sat down where I supposed to sit. And he let me sit down where he's supposed to sit. And my file was given to me then. My file, So he pretended that my file was his file.
Right. Okay.
And it's going through that file. I recognize that the doctor's certificate that I submitted that day was from a veterinarian. Not a medical practitioner. Now, for those who are listening this morning, I want to apologize to each and everyone because if today you have to go by a DMO to get a doctor's certificate, I probably might be one of the contributors then of you having to do that this morning. But as the promo said, that is my story. So I didn't go by a medical doctor. I went by a veterinarian.
He just as bad as you. He just as bad
Correct.
as you.
I mean, that could be considered a kind of malpractice because what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why you sign a sick leave certificate for a human being when you are trained to treat animals?
Well, at that point in time, all the employees was the employer was seeing that is a doctor paper.
Right.
Right.
It's from a doctor. You know?
Wow.
So the reason for me saying what I just said just now about my boss handing me my...
Is
because he recognized that I was having a problem.
Right.
So use a little
and
reverse psychology.
He wanted to make some intervention.
Yes.
With my problem.
Yes.
And by making that intervention, his words to me was, you sitting down there and having me with this file. What
would you do?
What would you do?
That is a boss.
Yes.
That is a boss move. Yeah.
It is.
You know, with due respect, I fire my own self.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say that. He give you the chance to make your own decision.
Yeah. I fired my own self.
Oh, shucks.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to our Dependency, and we are speaking. You're listening to Harry, and he's telling you about the problem he had with alcohol, something that people overindulge sometimes this time of the year. So, Harry, your boss is a genius. So what was your response? You said you decided to fire yourself. What was your response when you saw that?
Well, what else? All he could have said was, you really understand what you just did? Because most of the times, with due respect, I might be in the right state of mind, Most of the times. You're just knowing that you have to do certain things and you're just doing certain things. You something like you're on autopilot.
Yes.
And that was Stephen. That was Harry. And I'm saying this to say that, that is how Harry operated then, on that autopilot as we go along. So when he mentioned that, seeing that what transpired there, you see I'm going to put you on a 3 months probation to improve. Like you're coming, like your work attitude now, coming to work early, be more punctual than on the job then.
And you all didn't have EAP at that time?
Well, I got to hear about that EAP after.
Okay.
Because it ended up being introduced in the office because of recognition that it had a lot of drinking was going on then in the office.
Right. Yes.
So that came in afterwards.
Okay.
And with due respect, a program really started there. By seeing two members of staff talking, and I say, well, I'm already planning something and leaving my out. And that was one of my introduction. But you see, I need to say this. When I say I need to say this, they say when the big man is ready for you, there's ways and means that things happen. There were a night after a hectic night, just not wanting to get in no confusion with the wife as the case might be. I left home early that morning to travel to come down the road. And I was saying, I leave home early to travel to come down the road, and all in my mind is, I don't know if you know, but a certain establishment they used to call Hawk and Spit.
Yes.
Yes.
So I come in with the establishment of Hawk and Spit in my mind. But I'm in this air-conditioned bus coming to Port of Spain, and I tuck myself in the corner in that bus. And while I'm in that bus, in the corner in that bus there, I perspiring, and I'm in an air-conditioned bus. So that means all the alcohol, because people come in to sit down next to me and they stay in 2 minutes. They're gone.
Right.
Yep. And when coming out that bus that morning, I heard someone call out to my name and ask me what I doing in town this hour of the morning. Because they're not accustomed seeing me in town that hour of the morning, but not knowing that I running from family duties, you know. And that was my intervention that morning. I'll say that was my intervention because that person carried me straight into Trinity Cathedral, straight into the church that morning. And by going into the church that morning, I saw someone on the altar reading one of the readings, and I drank with that individual. You know, you ever tell yourself, well, I'm like, I still drunk? Or if, you know, you're in amazement then. Because you're talking about someone who, when I say I drink with that individual, it's someone who tell me, take one and dilute. That's how we used to operate. You could take one and dilute. Because I ain't want nobody talking, no walk talk, no woman talk, no nothing. I ain't want no, you know. He come to bury Caesar, he come to praise Caesar. That was the language. But the whole idea about it is, where did I fit in? And that intervention I got that morning, I was like, wow. I need to do something about myself. And this is why I said, I'm glad you mentioned that EAP program. Because as I said, when these, and you mentioned something earlier on too. You know, you be camouflaging with this water bottle.
Yes.
I know it had many, so when you think it's coffee, the drinking from the thermos is alcohol, it had in the thermos. And these are the stories.
If you just, Sabina.
No, I was just gonna to hark back to what you described there about sweating on the bus, just for our audience to know. That is a symptom of alcohol withdrawal, and it can occur when alcohol use has been heavy and prolonged, and is then stopped or greatly reduced, and it can occur within several hours or to 4 to 5 days later. And the signs and symptoms of alcohol withdrawal will include sweating, rapid heartbeat, hand tremors, problems sleeping, nausea, vomiting, hallucinations, restlessness and agitation, anxiety, and occasionally seizures. And these symptoms can be severe enough to impair your ability to function at work or in social situations. So just so our audience has an idea of, that's just one of the symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. If you've been without alcohol for a period of time, your body will react to that deprivation.
Thank you for that explanation there, Natasha.
So that's entry into the church and seeing this gentleman who you're familiar with on the altar. That is what prompted you to say, I need to
do something about myself. Mm-hmm. Because the whole idea was, if he could do it, why I can't do it? Right. But you see, what happened is I didn't know how or where to get that help. Mm-hmm. And this is where we'll get down to, later down, yes. When you give me that opportunity too. Yes. Because there's places that you couldn't get that help. Yep. You could get that help today. Absolutely. You see, this disease of alcoholism is not isolated anymore. So you could get that help. There are places where you might have to be hospitalized or because of the extent. I was fortunate I didn't reach to that. I was fortunate. Because you see, I was the individual, I have my drinking in 3 stages. And when I say I have my drinking in 3 stages, my first stage in my drinking was Lipton tea. And you might ask yourself, well, how Lipton tea get into drinking?
Yes.
Well, if I tell you I used to draw my salary and drink it, and I do that with Lipton tea, Lipton tea is draw it and drink it.
Yes, yes.
So my salary, I used to draw my salary and drink
it. I know it.
You understand?
Yes, yes.
So that was my first. And then the second part was reality. Reality stepped in. And the reason why reality stepped in, because we mentioned about what transpired, and it tells me that I needed to do something about myself. You see, it's about I doing something about me. You see, I cannot love someone if I don't love myself. I have to start loving me. Because it talks about transmitting something that you don't have. If I don't have love, how I can transmit love? You see, I honestly thought love was, my wife want a new stove, she want a new fridge. That was love. Love today is a happy wife, is a happy life today. That is love for me today.
Yep.
You know? Today, a Mother's Day, I could get up a morning, that Mother's Day morning, and say, thank you, sweetheart. Happy Mother's Day. And she was like, you need to call your mother and tell your mother that. I say, I need to tell you that because thank you for being the mother of my children. You see, I could transmit these things today. Before it was always Harry, and more Harry. It's not Harry anymore. You see, there's a slogan that says, I, Stephen.
Hi, Harry.
I, Harry. You know, people might be saying, but you're kind of mixed up kind of person, boy. But that's the withdrawal symptoms.
Yes. Yep.
But you see, with Harry's life today, it's a different type of living today.
Yep.
You see, I could live life today on life's terms today.
Yes.
Harry have to live his life today to be of maximum service to God and the people about him today.
You know, one thing, Harry, that I've noted about your story is that most alcoholics, or addicts, would receive an intervention from someone else, from a family member, your mother, your wife, your child, who has had enough of your behavior and is trying to encourage you to get help. But you are saying that you came to it of your own volition, because I think that is why a lot of addicts, when they enter rehab, initially, they don't succeed, because they're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for their spouse or their child or their mother. But your experience was a little different.
Yeah, well, you see, there came a time in my life when I told myself I need to do something. It was more or less for my wife and more or less my children. Because as everything else, they didn't stay small. They grew. They end up going to secondary schools. But from secondary schools, they are prominent people in society today. And it was hard for Harry. It was hard for Harry to be still doing the things that he used to do, while my children progress in life. I honestly believe that I don't think my wife would have stick around if I didn't make some intervention. in my life. Okay. Because there were times, when I tell myself, like she had enough of me. Because
she used to be behind you all the time and harassing you. And
no, she supported. The thing is, I will let out a little secret about her. And when I say I let out a little secret, darling, I love you, right?
Yes.
And when I say I let out a little secret about her, she was one who used to have her Bible by her bed. Mm-hmm. And it's only afterwards I realized that my wife was praying for me. She was praying for me. No, I'm not saying that she no longer has that Bible, Mm-hmm. But it's not that visible then as it used to be before.
Yes.
It's not that visible as it used to be before. And I remembered one night while I was attending, when I was introduced to the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. I remember she coming into a meeting at night. And when she came in that meeting that night, she said, "Thank God my prayers had been answered."
And God, you know something about that, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God my prayers has been answered. You see, the thing is, today I could safely say I'm a better husband, a better father, a better grandfather. I could be there then. My wife and my children don't have to worry which part Harry is today.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency. And what a testimony. And being familiar with Harry's family, I can say they're one big happy family and all brilliant people. And, Harry, we just want to congratulate you, and I'm sure they are proud of you too as well. We're going to take a break, and when we return, Harry's going to share some of that information with us now that you heard his testimony. And where he was yesterday, Harry went to a meeting. An AA meeting yesterday, when most people were heading south or heading to Mandela Park. Harry was heading to a meeting. That could make any family proud. This is what families hope for in recovery of an individual, and that they continue to use the tools to stay sober. We're going to take a break and we'll return. Harry will share some information with you out there. Those of you on YouTube, we thank you very much as usual for your continued support. Facebook and I95.5, Gloria, Patricia, Roger, Edward, and the rest. We're going to share your information or your submissions here as well when we return. So stay right there, folks. We'll be back.
Boy. I feel like I'm going to buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. Some of these women were tricked to come here. Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Morning. Listen now. Has noticed something about them new people and them up the road there. Where's that? Girl, the man that he passing up and down in front of here with a set of woman. I really noticed some women living there, you know. And they can't even say as much as good morning. Well, listen now. I wonder if it's human trafficking. You think it's that?
So, how can you spot and identify perpetrators and victims of trafficking? Many victims are found living and working together in the same place and sleep in shared and inappropriate spaces. Victims work excessively long hours. They often sleep in the daytime and work long nights. They are often escorted everywhere they go and may appear to be malnourished. They may show signs of physical abuse, drug and alcohol use, and may also appear withdrawn, fearful, or intimidated. Victims who are migrants are often not in possession of their identity or immigration documents and have irregular immigration status. Perpetrators can be male or female and may appear to be managing or controlling the victims. And they may even at times appear to be the victim's best friend, boyfriend, or employer.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Do you want to support our work at Eye on Dependency? Here are 3 ways to do so. You can make a donation to the Eye on Dependency account at Republic Bank. You can follow the Eye on Dependency page on Facebook. You can subscribe to the Eye on Dependency channel on YouTube. Liking, commenting, and sharing the live on a Sunday also helps. Thanks in advance for your support.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. We're having a very, as Garth mentioned, a sobering conversation, sobering, pun intended, with Harry, who's talking about his journey with alcohol. And before we go to the AA stuff, I just wanted Harry to touch again on his experience with alcohol in the workplace. And this is from personal experience about having a colleague who is drinking that is causing problems and how it affects his or her colleagues. And the inability sometimes that the colleagues feel, and the inability to really assist that person in the way that they need assistance. What advice would you give to employers and co-workers in how to treat with a staff member who is drinking to excess?
There are many ways in which that could be done. As I said before, these days we have interventions from all parts of Trinidad and Tobago today, because in Alcoholics Anonymous in particular, there's different intergroups, and these intergroups have a committee that is called the PI committee. And that PI committee is called the Public Information Committee.
Okay.
In that, any establishment could either write to the General Service Office of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is situated on Rivulet Road in Couva.
Okay.
The numbers will be given, the email and everything.
Yes.
If you're so inclined, you could start off by, calling either the General Service Office of Alcoholics Anonymous, Rivulet Road, Bridgeham Castle, Couva, telephone number 686, 229 AT&T, AAT&T, and that is 2288. They have a WhatsApp, mobile WhatsApp, and that's 339-7249. They also have an email, which is aagsott@gmail.com, and a website at aagsott.org.
Gotcha.
So from General Service Office, there's other entities. Then there's different units in the different areas. There's the Northern Intergroup, the Northern Office. There's the Port of Spain Intergroup Office. There's the Back to Basic Intergroup Office. That's a part of San Fernando. There's the Southern Intergroup, There's the South United Intergroup, there's the North Central Intergroup, and there's the Central Intergroup Office. So all these areas, all these places, then is places that you could call on.
Yes.
I'll give the main one, which is the General Service Office. But all these areas have, according to where you are situated, you could always get information. So whatever, if you want any intervention, then it could happen.
Now keep in mind that if the individual still don't think that they have a problem, they must admit there's a problem and they need help, and their life has become unmanageable. Their life has become unmanageable and they cannot control their drinking or smoking or whatever or activity, and they need help. This must be a genuine thing. You cannot force someone to admit they have a problem. You cannot drag someone for help if they don't want to. No rehab facility would accept any individual who does not want help or do not think that they have a problem. Remember that too. All right? I always try to tell people, I'm not a miracle worker. We are not miracle workers. What we can do is use our lives as example with our journey and hope that that would stick or resonate with someone who's listening. Roger put something here, Roger O'Brien, the term used in his household was organized. So, like clockwork, I would do the ice, chaser, liquor, glasses, and all in a trolley. Don't forget the ice tongues, or else it's drama. Now, we have a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
This carnival week here, right?
Definitely.
People come from abroad.
Yeah, definitely.
And the pressure is on you now.
No, well, they who come from abroad, remember, they have to pass you the duty free.
Right. So they come.
They have to pass you the duty free, so they come in armed.
Come in armed.
You see, sometimes you will recognize your family by either the half gallon over the shoulder or something, so, and you will say, "Oh yes, that is him."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You might know who you're coming to meet, but the identification will be that probably that double dog or that,
Yes. So what more from Alcoholics Anonymous can you share with your listening audience this morning, Harry, just so that they probably identify if they have a problem, or there's a relative right now who they're trying to sleep off last night. Before you do that, let me just share this. There's a thing called alcohol poisoning, and it's serious, sometimes deadly. Result of drinking large amounts of alcohol in a short period of time. Drinking too much, too quickly, can affect breathing, heart rate, body temperature, and gag reflex. In some cases, this can lead to a coma and death. Alcohol poisoning can occur when adults or children accidentally or intentionally drink alcohol products. And if you think that someone has an alcohol poisoning, then you need to seek medical help. Some people like to do, they will sleep it off. Sometimes you could die, some person could die in their sleep.
Yes.
Like Harry threw up. But that gag reflex could make you choke to death.
Choke, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Harry, please share with us.
I want to share one or two little thoughts with you all. You see, we have a booklet that we more give to new people who come into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the booklet have a big question mark, and it talks about who me. So you're asking yourself, who is me? But inside of that who me, there is something called is AA for you.
So is it ready for you?
You will ask yourself if AA is for you.
Right.
Because you will tell yourself, I just need to take a couple drinks. I doesn't, me have no problem with alcohol. And that is where, if you have to reach to the stage where just drinking a little rum and coke end up that you have to be drinking either deciding whether if to drink rum and water or if to drink rum and soda, that means you're having some problem. And that is my experience. But in that, when it says it's AA for you, I just reading a little thing here. It
Sure,
says, only you can decide whether you want to give AA a try. Whether you think it can help you. We who are in AA came because we finally gave up trying to control our drinking. We still hated to admit that we could never drink safely. Then we heard from other AA members that we were sick. We thought so for years. We found out that many people suffered from the same feeling of guilt and loneliness and hopelessness that we did. We found out that we had those feelings because we had the disease of alcoholism. So here it is, now we say we decided to try and face up to the fact that alcoholic had done to us. Here are some of the questions we try to answer honestly. If we answer yes to 4 or more questions, we were in deep trouble with our drinking. See how you do? Remember, there is no disgrace in facing up to the fact that you have a problem. And I will just run through the 12 questions in a flash. The first question is, have you ever decided to stop drinking for a week or so, but only lasted for a couple of days? We have a little answer afterwards, and it says, most of us in AA made all kinds of promises to ourselves and to our families. We could not keep them. Then we came to AA and said, just try not to drink today. If you do not drink today, you cannot get drunk. So that's question 1. Question 2 is, do you believe people would mind their own business about your drinking? Stop telling you what to do. Now remember, you have to answer those questions honestly to yourself.
Yes.
Just say in AA, we do not tell anyone to do anything. We just talk about our own drinking, the trouble we get into, and how we stop. We will be glad to help if you want us to. Question 3. Have you ever switched from one kind of drink to another in hope that this will keep you from getting drunk? Well, any drinker will tell you. Because there came a time when I tell myself, like, the rum tasting like water now. Mm-hmm. So, like, it had to stay a little longer on the shelf to get cured. So, when Ash Wednesday come and it have the 40 days and things, I'll say, but I couldn't last. I couldn't last 40 days without that drink. So it goes on to say, we try all kinds of ways. We may drink weak or just drank beer. Or we did not drink cocktails or only drank on weekends. You name it, we tried it. But if we drink anything with alcohol, we usually get drunk eventually. You say, have you had an eye-opener upon awakening during the past year? That's question 4. Do you need to drink to get started or to stop shaking? Is a pretty sure sign you are not drinking socially. So what they are saying is that morning, then you might get up that morning and you might be shaking, but you take that drink, and from the time you take that drink, all that shaking stop. Sometimes long time, you have no card and thing long time, so you have to go to the bank and sign. And when you sign now, hey, that know your signature, thing, and you realize, well, look, you had to go and take one for you to sign properly. So you're not drinking socially there, you know. And then after, we will say, and how they say this thing ain't good, boy? This thing well good, because this thing making me do the right thing, So it goes on to say, question 5, do you envy people who can drink without getting into trouble? Well, of course, that's always the case. At one time or another, most of us have wondered why we are very not like most people who really can take it or leave it. Sometimes you might tell yourself, imagine I can't drink. I know today I cannot drink. But I could watch people drink. And when I watch people drink, sometimes you see people suffering a drink and all kind of things. But that is them.
Suffering a drink.
Yeah, they're suffering a drink. Or you have a drink. You have
the ice melting and all
you have a beer day for over an hour. You know what I mean? When you used to when you're packing up your bottles in cases and things, glorify yourself.
Yes.
So we go on to question 6 now, which says, have you had problems connected with drinking during the past year? Well, of course, be honest. Doctors say that if you have problems with alcohol and keep on drinking, it will get worse, never better. Eventually, you will die. They say eventually, you will die. Or even end up in an institution for the rest of your life. The only hope is to stop drinking. And I remember a member was explaining to us about a family who, from the drinking, he got wet brain and sometimes sun shining and he have an envelope in the air like if rain falling. You could go up in the institution up St. Anne's and you'll see them, Or plenty stages, So question 7 goes on to say, has your drinking caused trouble at home? Well, of course, who drinking never caused problems at home? So I will fast track that. They say, do you ever try to get extra drinks at a party because you do not get enough? Of course, you have to answer yes to that because your first bar is a trunk, The trunk is your first bar. Yep. So if they want to tell you about bar clothes and all kind of thing inside a day, you could come outside and take a taste. You know what I mean? So they could close the bar how much they want. So question 9 talks about, do you tell yourself you can stop drinking anytime you want to, even though you keep getting drunk when you don't mean to? Well, of course. Many of us kidded ourselves into thinking that we drank because we wanted to. After we came into we found out that once we started to drink, we cannot stop. And that is exactly what was happening to me. When I started to drink, I couldn't stop. I used to be closing up establishment and you will feel like I was the owner there. You understand?
Yes.
You will swear I was the owner of that establishment the way I used to close it up. You will swear I have some kind of shares in that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
And that was Harry's life. That was Harry's life. They say, have you missed days of work or school because of drinking? Well, I mentioned that earlier.
Right.
I miss days of work. Mm-hmm. Right? Then it comes to the question that you ask, do you have blackouts? And you see, friends, it is said that a blackout is when we have been drinking for hours or days and we cannot remember. When we came into AA, we found out that that was a pretty sure sign of alcohol drinking. So there were times I used to be drinking and I can't remember what happened last night, boy. How I reach home? Who bring me home? There were a night I drove home correct. Reach right in front of my gate. I didn't have no automatic gate where when I reach I could press a button and the gate open. It's either the children or my wife or somebody had to come out of the gate. And I blacked out right there. I end up knocking down the wall and all kind of thing and my car upside down and I telling myself, them fellas and them coming to rob me, knowing that the fellas and them coming to help me out of my misery, They're coming to help me out of my misery. And here it is, I was telling myself, So you could imagine that kind of shamefulness and that remorse and that kind of, I put my family through.
Yes.
I put my family through, my wife and my children, I put them through a lot.
Yes.
So well, of course, the $1 million question is, do you felt your life would be better if you did not drink? That is the $1 million question. If you felt that your life will be better if you did not drink.
Yes.
So you say many of us started because drinking make life seem better. But at least for a while, by the time we got into AA, we felt trapped. We were drinking to live and living to drink. We were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then they ask you, what is your score?
Okay.
So from those 12 questions, you have to ask yourself, how much you answer? How much you answered? And you have to be honest. Yes. So I wanted to share that with the audience, so at least they could have that in their minds then,
Yes. Harry, That's very, very, very good.
Information.
Let's put up those images because we have some news to share about CTU with you
do.
as well. Great news. In the meantime, let me share this with you. Alcohol poisoning symptoms include confusion, vomiting, seizures, slow breathing, which is fewer than 8 breaths per minute, breathing that's not regular. This is when there is a gap of more than 10 seconds between breaths, skin that looks blue, gray, or pale, low body temperature, also known as hypothermia, and trouble staying conscious or awake. Folks, again, for those of you who are inclined to understand that a simple date rape drug can be dropped in your drink as well, and you will not remember anything the next day. This is what causes difficulty for investigators to track anything because you cannot remember any details. So we call again on police officers, security personnel, especially at these large fetes. I know it's difficult for some of you, but please be mindful, especially the fire service. If you see people, let's say a man and a woman or two men carrying a man or a woman out of a fete, woman don't know herself, you need to stop and ask a question. Stop them and ask a simple question. You know this person? Who is this? What's the person's name? And anytime they fumbling to answer questions, you need to intervene. Because chances are that person might not know them, but the person was drugged. And some of you men who sometimes you feel you get lucky in your old age and a young thing come up to you and all they start to lie and she start to whine on you and thing. And you know what, men end up in hotel by the palm tree and them and wake up the next day not knowing what happened. And they're too ashamed to tell their wife, but the driver's permit gone and the cards gone and watch gone and jewelry gone. And you cannot explain, which means you were drugged. People have upped their game now, folks. You all better be careful. Let's share the
So we have an update. An additional arrest has been made under Operation Thinking Point on Sunday, the 16th of February. At Clifton Hill Beach, law enforcement apprehended Miletsi Del Valle Duarte Gonzalez, a 8-year-old female Venezuelan national in connection with child trafficking. Ms. Del Valle Duarte Gonzalez appeared before the court on Wednesday, the 19th of February, on one count of trafficking in children. She's accused of recruiting and receiving a minor in Trinidad and Tobago. Following her court appearance, she was granted bail with a surety of $200,000. As part of the bail conditions, she must report to the Point Fortin police every Thursday and Saturday between 6 and 6. Her passport has been surrendered and she is required to remain within the jurisdiction of Trinidad and Tobago until the final determination of her case. So this Operation Thinking Point is we have 2 suspects who have been arrested thus far, and breaking up the CTU has broken up this child trafficking ring which is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. This is very real. This is a crime that is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Child trafficking is a real thing, and it is perpetrated by men and women. As you
have
can
to be
see.
really special to do that. Trust me, you have to be a special kind of beast to be trafficking a child.
Yep. And in that vein, the CTU is doing its education among young people, children and youth, and their school tour engages future change makers. Last week, the CTU and the Trinity Dance Theatre continued their school sensitization caravan, engaging over 500 students across primary and secondary schools in Trinidad. They visited Southeast Secondary, Diego Martin North Secondary, Brazil RC, and San Rafael RC primary schools. Students of all ages watched the powerful short film Silenced, participated in guided discussions, and took part in interactive activities designed to help them recognize the dangers of human trafficking. We go to the next one, short man. We'll see some images from the primary schools. So the CTU is actively going into schools, talking to young people and children about human trafficking.
Let's take a few calls for Harry now, while we go through the images. 622-3937. Let's take a few calls for Harry. Hello, good morning. All right. Let's know before we take the next call. CTU School Tour engages future change makers.
So for the younger students, the focus was on personal safety, and these images you see here are from the primary schools. So they focused on personal safety, recognizing red flags, and speaking up if something feels wrong. For the secondary school students, the discussions went a little deeper, exploring how traffickers operate, who is most vulnerable, and how they can protect themselves and others. So using the short film Silence, Dialogue, and Movement, we're ensuring, that is the CTU, ensuring that awareness is not just heard, but felt, and most importantly, acted upon.
Yes.
So they have now concluded this caravan that they've conducted through the month of January, February, and March. January and February, we're not in March yet. In 2025, they concluded on the 18th of February. They wrapped up with their sensitization caravan, engaging 180 Standard 2 and 3 students at Curep Presbyterian in their final session. So over the past few weeks, they've visited 11 schools, sensitizing just over 2,000 students across Trinidad, using the power of film, discussion, and interactive learning to equip students with the knowledge and tools to recognize, prevent, and respond to human trafficking.
Well done.
There's one more slide.
Let's take a call before you go.
Yep.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad that this gentleman came on. It's a very, very informative interview, and I'm hoping that people who are alcoholics would listen to him. Now, there are 2 points that he made, and I just want to, I wouldn't take up much of the time, but there are 2 points. One, you take it and you take a drink and you figure, well, that will be it, but you just go on and on and on. And the second thing is you have to admit that you need help. I remember there's a case of a teacher who used to drink. I shouldn't say drinks. And, she would pass by a bar and take a beer. And just a beer after school, and she'd go home. And, the other teachers used to be, of course, look how she's good at. Only one beer. One went to 2 and to 3, and then she became an alcoholic. And I remember we were trying to get her cured then. And it was a difficult thing because she didn't want to be cured. We happened to get her one, it was you have 2 months holiday, right? She was a very respected teacher until she started to drink, right? And this holiday time, we got her into the police station and they took her to the hospital and she was in the ward. And we felt happy because we organized for her to go to St. Anne's. And I think they had something, but they will dry her out or something like that. 2 months, they had to dry her out. And we said, well, good. Nobody needed to know that she was, she had, gone into St. Anne's and so on. I called the hospital the night to know how she was going. She happened to tell the nurse that we were lying on her. They allowed her to go. So when I called home for her, they said, Miss, she's not here. She gone to drink. So from the hospital, because the nurse didn't believe that we were talking the truth, she went to drink. She's 80 years old now, and she's still drinking all about the place.
Wow.
All about the place. So you have to recognize that you need help, or else,
Well
so I just want to share that. So I hope people listen to this man and realize that he's talking so much sense.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
A friend just WhatsApped me and said, good morning, Garth and Natasha. I had a few Harrys in my family. Happy to hear how he has progressed. Thank you, Jesus. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Garth and Natasha. Morning.
Good program as usual. Harry, congrats that you have been there, done that. And through your own initiative, you have escaped that grave of alcoholism. So I hope that people will listen to what you have said and keep away from it because it's total destruction. 50 years ago, Big Tom told me, he said, boy, anytime drinking rum. And I remember what you do the night before, stop drinking. So good program. I hope that people take heed. No respect.
Thank you.
You want to share this one, what we see
This
here
is
now?
just the last slide, talking about the powerful moments of understanding, curiosity, and a growing sense of responsibility among the youth engaged by a CTU's school sensitization caravan. And although this is the end of the caravan, the mission continues, of course, towards building a future where human trafficking has no place and where every child is empowered with the knowledge to protect themselves and others.
Well done to the CTO.
Yes.
622-3937. Hello, good morning.
Hi, God. Good morning.
Morning.
Get there. What I want to ask Mr. Is his name?
Harry.
Harry. What about the happy drunk?
The what?
Happy drunks?
Yeah, it has some people, like when they drink, my father was like that. He come home and he's happy and he will make everybody laugh and, you know, he was never like violent or miserable. But the only thing, he died young. He died at the age of 56.
Okay. What did he die from?
Well, you know, the alcohol-related illness, you know, the
Cirrhosis of the liver and so on, yes.
Cirrhosis of the liver and things like that.
No, massive heart attack. Massive.
Massive.
Yep.
He fell down in Port of Spain.
Wow.
And they rushed him to the hospital. It was a massive heart attack.
So you see the downside to that happiness. She laughed.
No, well, this is the reality, you know. This is reality.
Yes.
Right? This is reality with alcoholism. If you don't want to identify that you have a problem, you could end up just like, you know, like your dad.
Yeah,
you know?
and when you the focus of entertainment every time you drink,
Yes.
you'll be happy for that.
Yeah.
Of
You know,
course.
you low self-esteem, but when you drink, oh God, everybody love you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you, hey, you're damaging yourself. You know what I mean? So, but caller, we understand, and thank you very much for sharing that. 6-2, you know, it's sorry. It's amazing how some, you know, they always have that saying, you know, he's a real good fella, you know. But anytime he drink, boy, oh God, that man is something else. You know, he cuss everybody and you know, he always late for work or he don't come to work at all. Beat up his family, but when he don't drink, he's a real nice fella.
Well, you know, you always get that. You always get that. You always get that.
Yeah.
You know, there's always this saying too, when God can't come, he'll send a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll find that you'll be drinking and next thing you know, Harry appear. Hey boy, you know, and I will put something in the bottle. And I remember, you know, a time when I put something in a bottle, a man was drinking so profusely that when I tell myself, I say, well, how are you drinking so? He telling me he trying to get that he drink below the drink I put in.
Jesus Lord. Let me take one more.
George, you're not going to talk about it?
What is that? 6-2. No, I did the thing for Kyle.
Oh, you did.
Hello,
already,
good morning.
okay.
Hello, good morning. Is
Morning.
that Kat?
Pardon?
Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
you're live
morning.
on the air, ma'am.
Huh?
You're live on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to call my name, but Kat, I want to speak to you. You could take my number.
Okay, Tamika could take it off the air for you.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we have it there. Okay, we'll call you.
712.
No, those are, we have it. Don't worry, don't call it. We have it here, and we'll call
Okay
you.
then. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Don't worry. I will just. Yeah. All right. So, closing remarks from you, Harry.
Well, once again, you know, it's always a pleasure, you know, when I could be of service, you know, when I could help. As the promo mentioned, you know, I hope my story today could help some family, because it's not only the alcoholic that suffers, you know, the family do,
Yes.
right? Yes. And that includes, you know, whoever you impart your life with, you know. I just want to close by saying, you know, by me not having that drink today is over 25 years I didn't have that drink, you know. And by me not having that drink for over 25 years, it is a blessing.
Yeah.
I could just end up by saying it's just a blessing, you know. I know my wife, my family on the whole is a happy bunch of people, you know. I know that. And I just wanted to say that while I was drinking, I used to be singing songs like "Que sera, sera," whatever will be, and You know, what's the use of getting sober when I know I will be drunk again? Today, I no longer sing those songs. Today is about, this is my humble servant, in which I am well pleased.
And
So I
with
want to
that-
leave it at that. Thank you
that,
very much.
We say thank you very much, Harry. Thank you so very much for being with us here this morning and explaining your details and your journey. To those of you who are interested, the results of the Calypso Monarch semi-final will be released today at 12 noon. Looking from the Calypso semi-finals chat. So I guess they'll have a press conference probably going to start in a while to release the results from last evening.
Squeaky bum time.
So thank you all very much. It was, again, very informative. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Natasha, Tamika. And for those of you who called in, who listened, who text, and remember, you want to hear the program from the start, you go back to our page, Facebook or YouTube, and you can get the program, a replay of the program. All right? So, folks, be safe. We cannot tell you what to do, but we can tell you what can happen in the end. Remember, especially in those masks bans, the pretty masks, the bikini masks, people have a tendency to share out pills to keep you going. You decide if you want to take those pills or not, because after Carnival, when they go back to their...
When they're counting their money.
When they're counting their money,
Yeah.
your family is going to be counting money, how they're going to get help for you. And it's not going to be easy to get you out of that. Do not accept any performance-enhancing or energy-enhancing pills from any band leader or any band in those all-inclusive bands. Please, don't do it. If you do it at your own risk. That's all we can say. Remember, worms don't drink. Do not give your children alcohol for the worms. Please. I'm sure I should have asked Harry that if he ever saw a worm in the bar with him drinking. They don't drink. Do not give your child no alcohol to drink because you want to put them to sleep for you to go out.
Correct.
Don't do it because you're going to regret later on in life.
Yep.
All right? Please take care of yourselves. Look out for each other this carnival. And see you here again Sunday, God's willing. God bless you all.